The differential theory of integration, justice versus caring. When does justice conflict with caring? There are many examples. For example, euthanasia. Euthanasia is described as a deliberate act to end another person's life. Generally, it is understood that the intentional act of killing someone who would otherwise suffer from an incurable and painful disease. This subject has been hotly debated. Doctors and family must make the choice to do what is considered unlawful versus the choice to do what many consider to be humane. Another example is in the case of child support. Family court judges must determine how much support is entitled by non-custodial older children of a parent who also has custodial younger children. The judge must decide whether or not to enforce support according to a preset table based on the parent's income for the parent to care for the children that are currently in the home. And finally, when a potential car buyer shops for a vehicle, his salesman must decide whether or not to disclose information regarding the annual percentage rate when he is not legally required. Should he reveal the hidden costs to a customer and risk losing the sale even if he knows that the customer cannot afford the car, or should he risk losing his commission and only disclose the information he's required to by law? Justice is defined as the quality of being just, righteous, equitableness, or moral rightness. Rightful or lawful, the moral principle determining just conduct. It's defined as to be concerned or solicitous, have thought or regard, feeling, and exhibiting concern and empathy for others. Lawrence Kohlberg holds that we learn moral values through thinking and reasoning. Carol Gilligan identified that there is an ethic of caring about others involved in making moral decisions. Now let us examine the differentials. Kohlberg's stages are separated in three main groups: pre-conventional, conventional, and post-conventional. The pre-conventional stage is grouped into two stages, stages 1 and 2. Stage 1 is punishment-oriented, where actions are evaluated in terms of possible punishment, not goodness or badness. Obedience is the emphasis. Stage 2 is a pleasure-seeking oriented stage. The proper action is made based on personal needs. Concern for the needs of others is tit for tat. Loyalty, gratitude, and justice are not determining factors. Stage 3 is the good boy, good girl orientation. Proper action is made because of a desire to please others and gain approval. Niceness is emphasized. Stage 4 is the authority orientation. Emphasis on upholding law, order, and authorities. Civic duty and societal rules are determining factors. In Stage 5, the social contract orientation, laws and rules are supported based on rationality and mutual understanding and agreement. Rules are questioned and followed only to benefit society and for democratic value. In Stage 6, morality of individual principles, moral decisions are made based on self-chosen, general, comprehensive ethical principles. Justice, dignity, and equality hold high value. Young children and delinquents usually make decisions that are pre-conventional. Older children and most adults usually make conventional moral decisions. However, Kohlberg estimates that 1 in 5 adults achieve post-conventional morality. Gilligan recognized that caring for others is a determining factor in moral decision-making. She found that boys usually opt for justice to resolve problems, and girls tend to look for solutions that are beneficial to all. Gilligan pointed out that male psychologists have defined moral maturity in terms of justice and autonomy. This viewpoint would dismiss a woman's caring as a weakness instead of as a strength. If placed on Kohlberg's scale, caring would only rate a 3. Gilligan believed caring to be a major element in moral development, and men may be behind in reaching this level. So how do we maintain justice and still care about people? Let's take a look at the integrals. Men and women overall use justice and caring to make decisions morally. Moral decisions are dependent on the situation at hand. The best choices are made when justice, caring, reason, and emotion are combined. The key is wisdom. Jesus provides us with many examples of how to integrate the two. The 10 Commandments are clear. We should keep the Sabbath day holy. In the book of Mark, chapter 2, one Sabbath Jesus was going through the grain fields, and as his disciples walked along, they began to pick some heads of grain. The Pharisees said to him, "Look, why are they doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath?" He answered, "Have you never read what David did when he and his companions were hungry and in need? In the days of Abiathar, the high priest, he entered the house of God and ate the consecrated bread, which is lawful only for priests to eat, and he also gave some to his companions. Then he said to them, the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. So the Son of Man is Lord, even of the Sabbath." Again, the law is very clear. There is to be no work on the Sabbath. In Luke chapter 13, verses 10 through 16, on a Sabbath Jesus was teaching in one of the synagogues, and a woman was there who had been crippled by a spirit for 18 years. She was bent over and could not straighten up at all. When Jesus saw her, he called her forward and said to her, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." Then he put his hands on her, and immediately she straightened up and praised God. Indignant because Jesus had healed on the Sabbath, the synagogue ruler said to the people, "There are 6 days for work, so come and be healed on those days, not on the Sabbath." The Lord answered him, "You hypocrites! Doesn't each of you on the Sabbath untie his ox or donkey from the stall and lead it out to give it water? Then should not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan has kept bound for 18 long years, be set free on the Sabbath day from what bound her?" In the book of Luke, chapter 20, verses 21 through 25, so the spies questioned him, "Teacher, we know that you speak and teach what is right, and that you do not show partiality but teach the way of God in accordance with the truth. Is it right for us to pay taxes to Caesar or not?" He saw through their duplicity and said to them, "Show me a denarius. Whose portrait and inscription are on it?" "Caesar's," they replied. He said to them, "Then give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." Jesus continues to provide us with examples of how to integrate justice with caring. In the book of Matthew, chapter 5, he says, "Settle matters quickly with your adversary who is taking you to court. Do it while you are still with him on the way, or he may hand you over to the judge, and the judge may hand you over to the officer, and you may be thrown into prison. I tell you the truth, you will not get out until you have paid the last penny." He even shows us how to handle divorce. In the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verses 31 and 32, he says, "It has been said, anyone who divorces his wife must give her a certificate of divorce. But I tell you that anyone who divorces his wife, except for marital unfaithfulness, causes her to become an adulteress, and anyone who marries the divorced woman commits adultery." While upholding justice is important, we must learn how to do so with a caring heart. The Lord explains how we are to do this in Matthew chapter 22, verses 36 through 39. "Teacher, which is the greatest commandment in the law?" Jesus replied, "Love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment, and the second is like it. Love your neighbor as yourself." Colberg, Sage's, and Gilligan's ethic of caring are integrated in the works of our Christ. It is not black and white. We can integrate justice and caring by asking ourselves, what would Jesus do?